Hey guys, how's it going? This right here is the all-new Realme GT Neo 2. Yeah, that's the name. And for the price that it comes with, it is an amazing value for money package. However, how does it rank up against the OnePlus Nord 2, which is one of the most desirable phones under rupees 30,000? Well, that's what this video is all about. This is Varun from GTR and you're watching my in-depth comparison of the OnePlus Nord 2 with the all-new Realme GT Neo 2. Let's get started. Alright, so first up, let's just talk about the design here. I mean, right off the bat, they're both very different looking phones. And yeah, I mean, it's more of a personal preference to which one you like. See, there are people who might like this racetrack kind of a finish on the Realme GT Neo 2, and obviously that's a look. While I am not going to comment on the color because like I said, that's a personal preference, what I do not like about it is that there's a different kind of texture here. So you can feel a difference when your finger slides from the green panel to the blackish tone, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, you can feel that thing when you're using the phone. So yeah, it is not a pleasant experience. Obviously, the Neo 2 comes in different color variants as well, so you can opt for that as well if you want. On the other hand, the OnePlus Nord 2 keeps things simple yet premium. So it's a glass back with a premium finish, which obviously does attract a lot of fingerprints, something that the GT Neo 2 does not. But at the same time, it looks very subtle. And yeah, I mean, for day-to-day usage, I think the Nord 2 looks better. And there are multiple reasons why I say that. The Nord 2 is not only lightweight in comparison, but also is slimmer. So it also becomes far more ergonomic to hold. I mean, when I'm just holding these two devices, this is just way too thick. I mean, on paper specs just say that this is 0.7 mm thicker, but in reality, this feels a lot more thicker and a lot more chunkier. That being said, that chunkiness does come in handy with a lot of pros. I mean, you do get a bigger battery and there's a better thermal dissipation here, which we will be talking about in the performance and battery section of this comparison, so keep watching. Alright, so when it comes to design here, I think I would personally lean towards the Nord 2 here, simply because it feels like a more easy to use phone in day-to-day usage. But even if you go for the Realme GT Neo 2, it's not a bad call. I mean, you're not going to regret it. Now moving on to the display factor, and that's an easy call. The Realme GT Neo 2, I mean, I'm just going to call it Realme for the rest of this video. And this phone wins the bout easily. 120Hz, Full HD, 1500 nits peak brightness and 600Hz of touch sampling rate. I mean, this is just flagship grade specs right here. And it's not just specs, this does perform very well in real day-to-day usage as well. Now, don't get me wrong, the Nord 2 for an average user is still going to be very good. But yeah, once you put these phones head to head against one another, the Realme phone definitely comes out on top. They both support wideband L1 and Netflix plays on Full HD, no issues whatsoever. Also, YouTube does support HDR on both the devices, so no differences there. I mean, for content consumption, both devices are great, no issues whatsoever. But yeah, if you're more in towards gaming, definitely the GT Neo 2 will come in handy. Now I mentioned gaming, right? And now that's another area where the GT Neo 2 definitely shines. I mean, we've already seen that the Dimensity 1200 is a great processor, but the Snapdragon 870 is a far better chipset and it easily blows the competition away. Benchmarks are not at all an issue for this. And in fact, the best part here is that this thing does not throttle that much. For a 15-minute test of CPU throttling, the Nord 2 was throttling up to 77% of its performance, while the GT Neo 2 only throttled up to 87% of its max performance. I mean, that's a significant difference. As for gaming, Call of Duty ran at the highest settings possible on the GT Neo 2, and couple that with the high touch sampling rate, gaming on this phone is an experience altogether. I mean, obviously we do have smartphones like the Poco F3 GT that do have proper dedicated triggers, but if you skimp out on those, the GT Neo 2 offers, in my opinion, a better gaming performance simply because it does not heat up that much. Alright, now so far the GT Neo 2 has been getting all the pros, but let's just talk about camera here. And that's an area where the Nord 2 comes out on top. I mean, I said it before in my long-term review of the Nord 2 as well. This is one of the first phones where OnePlus has worked really hard on, well, making the camera reliable. And that is true. I mean, under 30,000, this is still the phone that I would pick for a good camera. As good as the on-paper specs of the GT Neo 2 are, it really can't compete with what the OnePlus Nord 2 offers. The Nord 2 has better colors, more realistic and reliable colors, I might add, has better details here, has a more controlled HDR as well, and everything just looks better here. With the Realme GT Neo 2, my biggest complaint is that, it's not even consistent. On some shots, it's just saturating the image quite a lot. On some shots, it's just coloring them in a different manner altogether. Sure, we've seen Realme focus a lot on their camera department, and I'm sure that with the upcoming updates, this thing is only going to get better. And of course, you can install Gcam on this and even get better results there. But yeah, as things stand, the OnePlus Nord 2 definitely has the better performance in terms of camera here. That being said, one advantage that the GT Neo 2 has is that it can shoot 4K up to 60 FPS if that is something that matters to you, while the Nord 2 caps out as just 30 FPS. Speaking of videos, it's worth highlighting that the Nord 2 has support for OIS while Realme relies heavily on EIS. So at the end of the day, while the results look equally stable on both, to some extent they are slightly more stable on Realme, you do lose out on a lot of details, while the Nord 2 offers much detailed shots while keeping the shots stable as well. Alright, next up we have the software part, and okay, this is a funny thing, but let's be honest, it's basically the same thing. Oxygen OS, Realme UI. Sounds like different words for just saying Color OS. And let's be honest, it's the same thing at the end of the day. Yes, the OnePlus Nord 2 has slight different tweaks here and there. Yes, Realme UI has slight different tweaks here and there. They both have their own share of bloatware that are akin to their brandings and whatever third-party apps they want to partner with. At the end of the day, they're the same OS at its core level. And that's right now. Going forward, once in a month or two at max, we'll get the Android 12 update for ColorOS 12, and then Oxygen OS will be based on that, and Realme UI will be based on that. And technically, it's all going to be the same thing. It's not a bad thing. Trust me, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I personally do like the direction and where the skin is headed, because it's a more refined OS, the animations look better, there has been a lot of focus on privacy. So yeah, it kind of makes sense to have all the brands have a similar looking skin. There is no difference here also. So that is one thing to keep in mind, that if you are deciding between these two phones, OS isn't really a factor to base your purchase on. Now, in terms of connectivity, they're both flagship level devices. I face zero issues in terms of mobile network connectivity. Speaking of which, they're both 5G enabled devices, and you'll see the list of 5G bands here. Decent enough, but yes, I won't be dwelling into details as there's still no word as to what all bands will be coming to India. So yeah, there's no point dwelling into much detail there. Alright, lastly, there's the battery life, and that is another thing that I talked about when I said that the GT Neo 2 is chunky, but you get an added advantage, which is an extra 500 mAh. Now, realistically speaking, that does not make a huge difference, because they're both devices that last an entire day of medium to heavy usage. Technically, it just comes down to having an extra 5 to 7% when you reach home at the end of the day. So yeah, obviously the GT Neo 2 has a better battery life there. The bigger part here, however, is, it's kind of similar to the software part, but yeah, it's kind of hand in hand. The fact that on the Nord 2, I'm constantly missing notifications because of the battery optimizations. On the Realme GT Neo 2, that wasn't the case, and that is an important factor for me. On the Nord 2, even after disabling battery optimization and everything, I was still missing out notifications from Gmail and stuff like that. On the Realme phone, I face no issues whatsoever. So that's good. We still get the same level of battery backup without missing out on notifications or without missing out on background app refresh. So if that is the case, I think the GT Neo 2 is the better one. In terms of charging, they're both 65 watts. Obviously, because Realme has a slightly bigger package, it takes ever so slightly longer to fully charge up. But let's be realistic, that's a negligible difference. Alright, the GT Neo 2 or the OnePlus Nord 2. Which one to pick? Alright, here's the thing. If you're a gamer or someone who is focused towards performance, the GT Neo 2 is your pick. If you're someone who likes a device that's more practical for day-to-day usage, is lightweight as well, the OnePlus Nord 2 is something that you should go for. Personally, I still do prefer the Nord 2. That being said, everyone has different use cases. So yeah, for most folks, I think the Realme GT Neo 2 does offer a better value for money package, especially after the current offers that they're offering. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, we are recording this video before the actual launch, so we do not know the exact pricing, but we do have an idea from the brand about it. So, I mean, the actual prices are here and down there in the description box. You can check out all the offers available on both the devices. But yeah, at its current point of time, I think the GT Neo 2 offers a slightly better value for money package here. Though, if you do decide to opt for the OnePlus Nord 2, it's not a decision that you will be regretting, considering you know what your actual requirements from a device are. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that I've specifically stressed upon the fact that the GT Neo 2 is more of a gaming and a performance enthusiast device. So, would you be interested in seeing a comparison of this with the Poco F3 GT? Well, let me know down in the comments below. Also, while you're down there, make sure to subscribe to our channel, guys. I mean, we're still growing and we have a giveaway of the Nord 2 as well. So go ahead and check that out from the link down there as well. And well, that was it. If you found this video helpful, make sure to let us know by giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel for more awesome tech content. Till then, this is One from GTR and I'll see you in the next one.